welcome back to the Kikao session.
Thank you.
In the previous session, we were talking about the transformation and what we expect of it. And it is very good, it is needed. It can indeed uplift our economies. But why? From the Malabo Declaration, from the Cardiff, where our leaders talked about agricultural transformation, almost 20 years down the road. What are the barriers which have hindered that transformation of the agricultural sector in Africa so that we can play a role in the economic growth of our continent?
I always look at the case of Nigeria, and I know what you are referring to. In 2002, we had the Malabo Declaration. First, it said all countries in this hemisphere should make available within their budgets about 10% for agricultural development. They had a number of pillars to which we, in Nigeria for instance, in 2008, we tried to look at storages, production, some form of commercialization. But we have a problem. We had a somersault of the policy. And then all the governments, no government up to date has provided that 10%. In fact, most of the administrations gave hardly 2%. That is a very serious problem.
Not even less than 1%.
Two, I think the greatest problem in Africa is consistency and policy implementation.
Policy implementation.
You know, you can have a very good policy when you appoint people who do not implement it, rather circumvent the thing. You are not appointing people on merit. You're not looking at merit in appointments. And you're not looking at transparency. You are not looking at many other things except probably where they come from, where the religions they have and all that. This is archaic. Nobody thinks like that. The world should look upon every individual who happens to be in the same geographical location as you as same. As the man progresses, you also progress. If in your village, for instance, you have all the money, if you bring out anything to sell, nobody would buy because they have no money. So Africa as a whole should look at itself as the United States of Africa. You know, we must be able to do things to uplift our brothers and sisters. That way, we will have a global outlook to all this. Now, if you catalog all these things and put them in perspective, you'll see that we are the problem of lack of the achievements that we should have. 20 years down the line, we have had nothing. There is nothing that you can really write home about in Africa that is consistent and sustainable. Some people will go this way, they will keep going. Take, for instance, in Nigeria, we have what they call the agricultural promotion policy. It's supposed to be a policy for 4 years. It's supposed to have been replaced in 2020. Up to now, we have not launched the new policy that will take care of it. That new policy is the National Agricultural Technology and Innovation Policy. Now, this is taking us to the Kikao discussion.
I think there is a problem of policy. Good policies are there, but implementation makes it a problem.
Right.
And there are many factors which lead to that.
So I will categorize these barriers, Dr. Canisius, in three ways. One, there are multitude of somewhat uncoordinated initiatives.
Uncoordinated.
There are lots of initiatives funded by the local agencies, international funding organizations, but these are somewhat competing with each other in terms of that limited investments or private investments. And so there is lack of Pan-African focus and coordination. That to me is a major barrier. Secondly, there are several good ideas. There are hundreds of publications that have come out, but not enough implementation. Ideas are there. Excellent articles are written on how to bring that agricultural transformation, but we need much better implementation at the local level.
Yeah.
The third aspect is that there is insufficiently developed ecosystem in general for agricultural market developments.
Yeah.
And that is perhaps limiting the potential of Africa's agricultural transformation.
There are two things you came to, uncoordination and lack of consistency, and then things are not sustainable. Many initiatives, but disconnection. I think that is one of the key challenges, in addition to the policies which are not implemented. But still, we all think that agricultural transformation is essential.
Right.
And you say there are so many ideas,
Yep.
so many publications. We have what it requires to transform agriculture. I want to ask you a question, and I wish you to be more practical. What are the steps that we need to take? Because here we have policies, and they will be there. We have a problem of technology, and we need technology. And we have many players to connect the farmers to the end users. There are many players there. How do we do that? What could be the key steps that we take to have this noble goal of having the agriculture in Africa transformed to a vibrant one?
There are many things. In fact, I was reminiscing on a number of them. The concept of dependency on agriculture is really African. We have a large percentage of cultivable land in the continent. Other countries of the world are looking upon us for food security in 2050. Here we are, as he said, we are not very coordinated. So the thing that we should do to make sure that these things happen is to look at agriculture first and foremost as the backbone of our economy. Any other thing is a bonus, and in fact we came to appreciate that it could contribute something because of some actions in so many cases of our colonizers. If you take, for instance, when I went to school, when I began going to school in Nigeria, oil was not the main thing. It was agriculture. Everything that we got in my early part, going to school, was from agriculture. So we should be able to harness all the possibilities in agriculture. Whatever happens elsewhere, all the mineral resources and everything that we get from underground or above ground or everywhere should simply support agricultural transformation.
So
now,
prioritize agriculture.
The priority should be agriculture in Africa. As you said, I mean, in the opening statement, there is even an age-long belief that Africa is where agriculture takes place. And agriculture anywhere in the world is a rural thing.
What are the key practical steps that we should take?
Now I started mentioning some of them. I'm not an expert in this business, but I know very well that you must have a policy that you implement judiciously.
Yes.
If you don't implement the policy, it is as good as just there. Now, you need to also appoint people who know what to do. If they are going to drive the agenda, they have to know what to do, and they don't have to be people you like. There are people who can do the job. You give it to them and they do it. And then there are certain things that have to be contiguously done. Like if you don't have good power, you have a lot of post-harvest loss, because so many of these things will spoil in a matter. Even egg, for instance, the shelf life of egg, when left like that, is hardly 1 week. You must be able to have an egg room where you keep your eggs and all that. When you kill your cows, you must be able to keep the meat where it will be kept for good. When you even get grains, you must be able to. All those things, infrastructure is very important. The transportation. You must have good transportation from the place of production to the place of need. You must also be able to attract foreign exchange from what you produce. The other countries of the world, take the people who are giving us a lot of rice in Nigeria, Thailand, and all those places. They had enough. In fact, they were giving us maize that they couldn't eat. It had been there in the silo for a very long time, and they were just dumping it on us. So Africa has started doing something, but we should take it to fruition. And that is the AFTA, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area.
Open more
It
market.
should open more market, and it should incentivize people to produce and to produce.
And Dr.
globally.
Prasanna talked about the market many times.
Yes.
And this AFTA could probably bring a solution. Do you have some key steps, practical steps?
I would highlight 4 or 5 key steps here. The first one is complementing what Kabir has said. We need to have prioritized and differentiated strategies for Africa. We don't treat Africa as a homogeneous entity. There are multiple countries with the different levels of capacity, multiple regions with different needs, farming communities with diverse interests and needs. So prioritized and differentiated strategies. Market-driven opportunities for the farmers is critical. That's the second most important aspect.
Yeah.
We need to have change agents. Those change agents could be institutions. Those change agents could be farmer organizations. Those change agents could be international organizations that contribute to agricultural growth in Africa. So we need to identify those specific change agents which can help implement those strategies in a targeted manner. Fourth, we need to identify what technologies are working, which can be scaled up easily in the continent, in those particular value chains. And we need to make progress on enabling policies and creation of enabling environment for private sector investment is utmost crucial for agricultural transformation.
And this will come to add, I think, more power to the issue of allocation, financial allocation that Kabir talked about, where in most of our countries we have not been even close to the 10%.
Exactly, investment from public sector funding on agricultural.
Despite the good commitment.
Absolutely, but one more important aspect that we perhaps not touched so far is about the gender gap.
Yes.
This is a very, very critical aspect. We cannot hope to have agricultural transformation in Africa without empowering women and youth. Women constitute a major workforce, but they have inequitable access to technologies, decision making at the household level or at the community level, and as well as financial resources. So we need to empower women. Without that, we cannot make the change happen.
And empower the youth, because they are the future of agriculture. They are the one who will take
So to me, although we and this should not be just paying lip service, we need to have specific programs on how to make women and youth as powerful and catalytic agents for agricultural transformation in this country.
In a coordinated environment.
In a coordinated environment.
Let's take a break, and when we come, we will continue discussions at another level.
Thank you.